Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my friends all over the world. Uh, Today's video is going to be about a recent article in Economic Times that had come up on today, that is 3rd October. So I just wanted to give a viewpoint on the same because the article was about 7 reasons why you should actually not invest in cryptocurrency when the cryptocurrency has fallen. Now, let me just tell you the background for cryptocurrency. A few days ago, like on the 3rd or 5th page of Times of India, it was there was a listing of cryptocurrency and all the major cryptocurrency items, how it is gaining importance, uh, like from around 3-4 years, and all the 4 or 5 major cryptocurrencies that are there, how the market share is rising. All that information was given there. And around after 2-3 days after that, we have this article in Economic Times. So I just thought that I should actually put my view forward for this particular uh, article. So without wasting any time, let me just go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So I'm just going to read the important points and maybe discuss with you. And please understand, these are my opinion, and I have learned cryptocurrency. So definitely I know what is happening right now in the cryptocurrency market. So now whether to uh, take this comments, whether to maybe whether you are with my comment or not, that's your individual viewpoint. But just wanted to clear a few things uh, since I'm into the cryptocurrency side. So uh, first of all, this article gives an example about a person who had invested in ATC coins. ATC coin is, I do not know which coin it is. Uh, if you really want to invest in coins, the first thing that you just need to do is you need to see the major coins that are there in the cryptocurrency according to market cap. They are available on coin market cap. You can check out the best ones that are there, and you should go ahead and invest. If you are really looking for investing, then you should uh, start investing in that. And if you are going to invest in maybe lesser or new ones that are coming up in the market, then you may run a risk of losing the money, and that is exactly what has happened. And just to conclude that cryptocurrencies are bad based on a person who had invested into maybe a lesser unknown coin, uh, then it it would actually not make sense. Okay, so that is my viewpoint about the same. So what had happened was he had faced a problem in ATC coins. So what he did was, whenever he got an opportunity, he sold off that once ATC coin. He had a difficulty selling those coins, but later on he was able to sell those coins. So he formed an impression about the cryptocurrency. Uh, about the cryptocurrency. Every cryptocurrency works like that, and he actually sold off his Bitcoin. I feel sorry for that person because he had around 11,000 invested in Bitcoins, which he actually sold off because of maybe third party coins behavior that happened. Now, just to give you an example, if there are around 2 billion people uh, 2 billion people, or I'm not sure how much is the population of India, but let's say there is a lot of people in a particular room, and maybe one person is not maybe working properly, or not maybe has a disruptive mind. Does that mean that all the 100 people that are gathered in the room have a disruptive mind? Definitely not. So you have to understand that you have to understand cryptocurrencies. You need to understand in which cryptocurrencies you need to invest. If you are going to, once again I repeat, that if you're going to form an opinion based on cryptocurrencies, maybe lower end cryptocurrencies that you invest, then, and you're going to make major decisions based on that, then you are going to lose your money. Not only you're going to lose your money, but you are actually, and if the media is actually going ahead and maybe highlighting that, then that's actually showing a bad taste from the media itself. Okay, uh, so second is, let's try to see this particular chart. If in this chart it is shown that it was 41,455 here, and then uh, it has risen to 2,67,712. Now, as you can see, this is not a one-way ticket. Like as you can see, it has gone here, then it has reduced, then it has risen a lot, then it has again gone down, then it has again risen a lot. Now it's again uh, going down, and then again it will rise again. So people, you need to understand the trend. Okay, it's very important that you understand the trend. Okay, definitely, like let's go through these points, because one of the points talks about extreme volatility. And one of the person actually says that there is nothing to analyze. Now, I am not an analyst. I can tell you just by looking at this picture, a graph, a local layman can tell you that it's actually reducing, then it's rising. It's reducing, then it's rising. And the rise that is taking place is much more than what is reducing. So if you're just going to concentrate only, oh, the cryptocurrency's price is less, uh, I think you are not understanding the charts. So please get yourself educated about cryptocurrencies. Neither commodity nor currency. Now, various governments all over the world have recognized Bitcoin uh, as a commodity or a currency. Now, let's take an example of Japan. Japan has recognized it as a currency. So, so it all depends upon how the governments are actually recognizing it. Now, what I feel, it is neither a commodity or currency. Now, this is my personal viewpoint. The lack of clarity about its origin is another big issue related to Bitcoin. In olden days, highly priced metals like gold, silver were used as currencies. Then let's talk about fiat currencies. Mm, they are reluctant to call it a commodity. I don't know who they are. It's a, I think when you're talking they, I think you're talking about what he meant is the government are reluctant to call it a commodity. Uh, They also claim it is not controlled by any government. Now, I still do not understand what they this particular person is referring to. They also claim it is not controlled by government. Yes, Bitcoin is decentralized. Decentralized means that there is no middle party involved. It's just me and the other member. So it is peer to peer. It can be risky for business, industry, and people to trade or invest in Bitcoin as it's just a formula. I can only laugh on this. Uh, right now, let me just give you an example of banking, and please let me know in your comments if I'm right. Right now, like if I have $100 and if I go to a bank and deposit that $100, the bank, what it does is it keeps that $100 out of which they actually keep some amount, maybe $10, $20 as required by RBI. I'm just taking an example of dollars because this is happening universal, by the way. So $90, they will just go ahead and actually lend it to other people. Uh, so I just wanted to let you know that the person who has given his $100 to the bank, like when he checks out his passbook, it still shows $100 because or rather because it is done just by numbers, because there are formulas or there are numbers that are taking place between the various banks and other higher authorities, due to which you see that particular number. But let's assume that maybe if there were maybe 100, let's assume that there were only 100 people in a bank uh, who had opened an account, and everyone goes to the bank to withdraw their $100. Would the bank be able to withdraw? Would the bank be able to actually give the money back to the customers? I am sure they will not be able to, or they will face problems in doing so. So please understand that when you're making a comment, I would just like to say that it is just a formula. So my question to you question is, what is the present banking system? It's just uh, like it is just formulas itself, where you come to know that your balance is $100, but in fact when you actually see how it works, it is not $100. And that's the reason how credit is actually generated and inflation is caused, and all the reasons uh, are done due to this, like are caused due to this banking thing that is happening. So uh, please please actually understand it's not just formulas, or rather, if you're talking about Bitcoin being a formula, then what is banking? So it would be very interesting to know to hear comments from people about it. Next one is, don't invest if you don't understand. Uh, Jamie Morgan actually had given a comment. Jamie Morgan is supposed to be the CEO of JP Morgan. JP Morgan, he had said that he had doubts about the value of Bitcoin, saying that it is worse than tulip bulbs. Now, I don't want to talk about tulip bulbs and it won't end well and all that sort. Now, Jamie Levin is basically from Morgan Stanley, which is into the finance related stuff, like into the banking industry. So, and believe me or not, Bitcoin is actually going to be the cryptocurrency of the future, and it is challenging the banks, okay, indirectly. So the comment which came up was more about, like, more because of the fear that is being created by Bitcoins and other stuff rather than the actual logic. Okay. uh, in fact, he also admitted that his daughter has also is also invested in Bitcoins. She also has Bitcoin. So if 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 you are making a comment, and if your relative itself, a blood relative, is holding Bitcoins, then actually, would your comment be really worthy? Okay. Also, what I understand is that uh, uh, like, if you hear a comment here of Sandeep Poincare, who is actually the main person of ZipPay, he says that JB Devin doesn't understand the evolution of Bitcoins, and he doesn't understand the evolution of Bitcoins. That means, like, what he was actually trying to say is that maybe Jamie, the underlying meaning is that it's not that he doesn't understand the evolution of Bitcoins. He understands the evolution of Bitcoins. It is just the fear that is being created into the bank's mind uh, that is actually causing to make comments like that. Uh, have you actually seen the Australian team? Uh, like, they use a strategy of sledging. It is similar to that. Like, when everything is not working, they start maybe using the sledging strategy, which they start talking with Indian players, and saying that, oh, this is not going to work and all that stuff. Now so it's the frustration that is coming through. So similar to that, uh, Jamie Dimon, it's actually the frustration that is coming out. Okay. He's, here it also says that we have former Citigroup CEO Vikram Pandit investing in Bitcoins. In fact, if you do not know, Ratan Tata is also invested into Bitcoins. It is in fact into some kind of wallet. He's invested into some kind of in creation or of some kind of a web wallet, so which is related to Bitcoin. So a lot of people are invested in that. Bill Gates is invested in that. Richard Branson is invested in that. You actually take news from Bloomberg every day, and like, maybe every day you actually hear about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Maybe sometimes people say that Bitcoin, uh, maybe like, other cryptocurrencies are growing up, and maybe Bitcoin was the first coin, and a lot of cryptocurrencies are taking Bitcoin as the base and developing a lot of coins which are very much valuable. So saying that cryptocurrencies do not work, do not invest in cryptocurrencies, is just foolish according to me. Unregulated space. Unlike any other investment avenues, cryptocurrencies are not regulated by government entities or banks. There is no authority like SEBI that you can approach for grievance to address it. Agreed. There's no, like, nothing like SEBI. If we buy something with a credit card and get ripped off, we can call the bank and ask to be compensated. If we get ripped off in a Bitcoin transaction, it is impossible to get the money back. Yes, in case of a Bitcoin transaction, if by mistake, if you actually put the numbers wrong, then if you put the Bitcoin address wrong, then it would actually go to a wrong person. However, you have an IRQ code which you can use, so it would actually capture the right Bitcoin address. Okay, and talking about regulation, unregulated space, like you have to first understand, can Bitcoin be regulated? Bitcoin cannot be regulated because it was meant to be decentralized. Okay. Now what can be regulated is uh, only where people are having accounts with the like web wallets like ZepPay, Unocoin, where they are actually holding the coins. You can actually go ahead and regulate that. So please understand that Bitcoin cannot be regulated. Yes, but I agree to the point that uh, like Bitcoin transaction cannot be reversed. So you have to be really careful about the same. The issue of legality. Now, as of now, the Bitcoin is neither illegal nor legal. So it is in a middle phase, and even though it is in that particular stage, a lot of attention is actually coming to Bitcoin. In fact, uh, there was a voting that was done, or there was a poll that was conducted by government of India to ask whether they should actually regulate Bitcoin. Bitcoin, they should actually think about regulating Bitcoin exchanges or not, or whether they should actually look about the regulation of Bitcoin stuff. And there was an overwhelming response to the same. Maybe 80 to 90% have said that uh, blockchain and cryptocurrencies are the future. So you cannot, if India has to grow, then you have to bring that they have cryptocurrency has to come into India, and you can go ahead and do the regulation, but just banning is actually not going to solve the problem. You are actually going to maybe put India in a very as a low uh, uh, like it is going to be a very powerless country without cryptocurrency. So the issue of legality is addressed here. Ponzi schemes abound. Yes, Ponzi schemes abound. Like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is actually not Ponzi itself. Ponzi is where, based on this particular cryptocurrency, some people start some kind of programs, and then maybe in that particular program, the persons who are joining in early, they start uh, they go ahead and start getting money. I mean, they start uh, earning money more than the others, and that's why it has been termed as a Ponzi scheme. So yeah, I to some point I agree that a lot of Ponzi schemes have come up based on the cryptocurrencies. However, you have to be very careful about uh, which program you are invested. For example, here it talks about some kind of some of the plans offer guaranteed returns. Now, bitcoins are highly volatile. It's not possible to offer guaranteed returns. So you have to be very careful about that. But the you should actually be very clear about what a Ponzi scheme is, because people misunderstand Bitcoin to be Ponzi, which is not the case. In fact, if you are following Bitcoin, then one of the ministers in parliament actually said that, oh, Bitcoin is a Ponzi scheme. So, and that was a laughing stuff. So you have to, it's very important to understand what is Ponzi, what is not Ponzi, okay? And cryptocurrencies as a whole are not Ponzi. In fact, maybe if you, cryptocurrencies, there are around 500. So 508 to 800 crypto, and more are coming up. Now you have to understand there are some kind of cryptocurrencies which actually solve a particular problem. And that is why the value of the cryptocurrencies is there. So you need to understand which cryptocurrencies to invest in. If you are just going to see maybe 1 to 800 cryptocurrencies and maybe just going to invest in the 800 cryptocurrency just because the price is small, then you might just feel that, oh, it's maybe a Ponzi or something like that. But as I said, you need to be very, 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 very educated about what is Ponzi, what is not. Prone to illegal activity. Due to lack of government control, terrorists and extortionists are also utilizing the cryptocurrency space to the advantage. Bitcoin users on either end of a transaction can remain relatively anonymous, and cyber criminals have found ways to mask their addresses. Yes, like when Bitcoin was initially introduced, there was a company called Silk Route, which actually used to sell unwanted things on their website using Bitcoins exclusively. And later, the owner was uh, caught, and the proper action was taken place. Illegal activity is going to take place. Please understand that can you stop 100% illegal activity? Ask the question. I had this particular question. Can you completely stop 100% illegal activity? And the answer is no. Can Let me just give you an example. Can you stop a person uh, watching porn? The answer is no. So if you're only going to, if you have to have an open mind. If you are just going to see, okay, just because the terrorists may use it, we are going to ban Bitcoins, or we are not going to bring it into India. No, it's going to happen, or like maybe illegal activity is going to happen. Now you have to concentrate on how that illegal activity can be controlled, or maybe can be regulated, and that's where the regulation of the Bitcoin exchanges comes into picture. So just because it is prone to illegal activity, if you are not investing in cryptocurrency, then I suppose 90% or 95% of the things that you do in the world, you should not do that, because there are illegal activities involved. You should not deal in rupee, because there are illegal activities happening there. You should not involve in watching movies or over a torrent and other things, because it is illegal and other things. So a lot of things, if you should not do. If so, you have to have an open mind. You can't just say that cryptocurrencies don't invest because it's prone to illegal. Yes, it is prone to illegal activity, but that doesn't mean that it's only prone to illegal activity. If there is a maybe 95% things that are going to happening or that are going to happen positive, and 5% things that are going to happen negative, uh, then you might as well choose the 95% because it is going to benefit the nation as a whole. So, so this was a video about my viewpoint about this particular news article. I hope this this explanation was maybe useful to you guys. Maybe I had not practiced it. I just saw this article and I just thought that I should do a video about the same. So I hope this was useful. And if you have liked it, or if you have if you have not liked it, please go ahead and share your comments so I can actually know, so we can discuss about the same. Bye bye.